Hey guys, welcome to another Sunday Sync. We usually just go right into opens and see where people want to take it, but I was going to ask um, a topic about partnerships. I have never partnered with anybody, and something came my way that looks pretty interesting. Not from this community, but I wanted to just ask if people wanted to talk about partnerships, or just leave it alone, or go down another road, or what.
I'd love to know your thoughts.
I'd be happy to talk about partnerships.
Have you, Ian? Have you partnered with somebody before?
Done a lot of ships, so yeah.
Oh, nice. So what are, I mean, I'm sure you have to have your goals aligned and have common interests, but what are some of the, I guess, good and bad of partnerships that you've seen?
Yeah. So nice to meet you. First of all, nice to meet everyone here. I have recently joined the community, so
Oh,
didn't
nice.
know what to expect here. And normally wouldn't want to hog the floor immediately, kind of wanted to poke around and see. But if we want to talk about partnerships, I've dabbled in a lot of do talk to people. People start with partnerships, or maybe it kind of helps them get into the swing of things. It sounds like you probably have doing things on your own.
Yeah.
Um, and a lot of times there is down the road, people evolve, right? So those partnerships, it's nothing like personal, right? People end up going, and the thing about a partner that I like that's different than like a business partnership. But if you own property together, depending on what you're doing, there's a defined end date to it, right? So obviously you want to vet your partner. I mean, to me personally, like character matter, use how they want to do business. You talk about all the different things, right? You talk about the life, the investment cycle, and how long you expect people to, be with you. I mean, if you guys have differences right from the start, like this is a buy and hold for one person and this is a flip for another, then it won't work. But
Right.
at the same time, you have to understand that what people see today, maybe that might change in the future as well, right? So there are cons to partnership. Answer your first question, what are the benefits? I mean, obviously there are different skill sets that different people bring to partnerships, and then there's being able to preserve capital and kind of split that among someone else. So for those two reasons. But I mean, everyone, when you talk about the rules of a partnership, whether you're thinking about a big like syndication or just kind of a small deal or single family home or whatever it is, right? They're based, I'm not sure if you've heard this, rules of real estate, right? There is the hunter, there's the hammer, there's the capital or the money, and there is
Operator.
the hunter is the deal. The hammer is the person who executes the business plan. The money is the person who raises the capital, and then the last person. What am I forgetting?
Is it the
Um,
operator?
that's the hammer.
Hammer? Okay, hammer is the I'm trying to take notes. You're cutting in and out on my end.
But
I'm not sure if other
you want
people
to
are
know
hearing.
like where you fit in within that partnership, right? There's the brain, the underwriter, right? So some people are really analytical, but don't have the connections to kind of or the project management skills to kind of see through things from start to finish, whatever your value add business plan is. Or maybe they don't like talking to people if you need to raise capital or bring capital if it's like one or two people as a partnership, right? So also, that is kind of a framework that I like to think of if you're thinking about doing some type of partnership, how those four roles get crossed off, right? Partnerships can also be scary to people, but I think an important part is first, I mean, you have to go through it to know who you want to partner with and who not to, but then you also need a solid operating agreement, right? And that operating agreement, obviously, it's some legally binding document that gets you that helps down the road. But in the meantime, having the conversation before you start, right? Like going through every section of the operating agreement, that exercise in and of itself is very helpful rather than the simple two agreement that a lot of people do doesn't have very much stuff that's very clear.
Hey, Ian, I don't know if you're cutting in and out on my end. I'm not sure if other people are hearing that.
Yeah, am I cutting out? Sorry if I am.
Oh. So yeah, that operating agreement, is that like I mean, goals, your goals are aligned with that operating agreement, like, hey, I'm committing to this, this, and this, and you're committing to this, this, and this. Does it have the do you have an example of that or know where I would get one?
I have a few things and a few, but I can even share my screen.
Oh yeah,
Share
that'd
a
be
little.
awesome. Here, let me let me check real quick. For the people that are on the meeting, is this okay? I just wanted to ask the question. I didn't want to, direct it that way, but is that okay? Okay, it's okay with one. Anybody not want to do this?
No, I'm fine with it, but I do have a question. Let's say, as far as entering into a partnership, let's say if someone were to come to you with like a good deal, like you just mentioned earlier, into that situation right now. And let's say in my case, if this person came to me, yes, I know that person casually. What would be the next? Yes, that deal be good. And yeah, like what would be the next?
Yeah, I'd say typically it is tricky, right? Because if you have that luck where the first deal that you guys are talking to together seems to be a great deal, I mean, that's typically not the way you'd like it to happen, but imagine the deal is too good to pass up, then it becomes a little bit trickier. But usually, as you talk about the forming the partnership first, and there may be every deal that doesn't go through, right? That you go through due diligence and you have to walk away from, or that underwrites and sense or things like that. Those are strengthening and understanding how each other work. So that would be ideal, right? Partnership where you talk about the potential, you see a good deal, but now you really pick it apart and try to find a reason why not to make that work, really, because you know, I mean, it takes time to build that relationship to know whether or not you really want to partner with a person. If something happened to where there is somebody who bring you a unicorn in your first deal, right? All of a sudden, it's just like this amazing deal. Um, it doesn't actually happen that way that often, I would say. But if it
So
does,
basically, in the end, and thinking about the whole situation, think of like a way of, in the event something goes wrong, at least for yourself, have like a plan B, pretty much.
I can show you.
Go ahead and share, Ian. I went ahead and opened it up for you.
Yeah, and it wasn't my intent to come in here and start talking so much.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I've never partnered with anybody. I've tried 3 times, and every time, twice at the last minute they wanted to bring in a third party, which is really weird. And the first time our goals just didn't align. So
So I've done a number of partnerships, and I'll share a little bit about that background to give some context. I've had partnerships where just down the road, like I have one partner, it was 50-50 partnership. We definitely had complementing skill sets. We're still friends, but I am, just personally, I'm about to have my first child, his first child as well. He has definitely like taken real estate in a different, like taken it off his plate, whereas I have gone a little harder. So we sold that property and we're still, it's nothing personal, but people's lives kind of, it just changes things, right? So there's always stuff like that. No, fortunately, knock on wood, we haven't had like bad partnerships or things where.
yeah. Hey, your video's like cutting off the top of your head, just FYI. I don't know if
Okay.
you care, but
Yeah.
you know what? It looks like it's my internet. It says my internet's unstable, not yours. Bummer.
Yeah, I'm
So
hearing everything perfectly at the moment.
this is a guide. So just for some more context, I've done partnerships through people I know. I'm in a number of different communities. There's a startup by the name of Fractional, which allows people to partner together. That's their thesis. That's their kind of, there are a lot of real estate startups that try to tackle this co-ownership space of real estate, but this one takes the most active approach. fosters community, people to get to know each other and actually wants to actively partner together. They don't want to make it like you're buying a share of your passive, or they try to do everything, but it's documented so that it's not like, so that you're not kind of illegally kind of soliciting, because you guys have active roles with all of your partners. So they have an operating agreement that I think, a guide that I think is pretty good, that they're a venture back with time and resources, and they have an attorney that was previously like with SEC, so they really have to make sure that their operating agreement is good.
I missed it. Who was this, or is this something you can share to the group or no?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to like promote this by any means.
Yeah.
But this website is called fractional.app. And I'm actually the host of the Cincinnati community. So there are like 200 plus people in here. But when you go into the fractional platform, there are a number of different communities that you can join. Some of them are private, some of them are public. You have like a multifamily community, and people are like sharing their deals to partner with each other. And I always say, like, for better or worse, right? Because you don't want these super quick partnerships to form, but it is good to kind of meet people and see how they look at stuff, right? So I have my own community in here for the Cincinnati, because I invest in Cincinnati, Ohio, but I have my own community here where I've posted deals. And as part of that website, that startup, what they've done, and they have a really good operating agreement, which really should be the backbone of these types of deals, right? I can say that previously that was a 50-50 with someone else. We had the 2-pager operating agreement that wasn't nearly as comprehensive as what they put together. But they have all these things like, what is a vision versus a vision versus, like, they have years of decisions that require different approval levels, which again will be if you're a 50-50 partnership, right? That gets a little tricky. And then how, if one person wants out, what's going to happen? Like, who has which right of first, or how do you value the property to be able to buy out that other person? That's a very common issue, that somebody wants to get out of a partnership sooner than the life of your investment. So that's another discussed. Like, actually, here's the member voting part, right? Important decisions require at least a 6. Major decisions require 70, and critical require 90. And then it defines what these are, right? Important decisions are contracts over dollars. Critical is the removal of an officer, or probably the sale of the property, I would guess. But yeah, all these things, this is just a template. I'm not saying this is the way to write your operating agreement, but that's something to consider. Allocation of profit and losses is a whole nother conversation as well. So I don't know how you're thinking about your profit splits. That, I mean, I could take up a lot of time to talk about that, but that should be detailed as well. I probably have this, like, the actual full thing list, but
I put the fractional app link in the chat, and I'm not sure if this article that you have right here is something you can post in there. I think you have to sign up, and I won't do it now in the middle of the meeting, but I'll sign up as I go. Is that something you could post or copy and put in here, or no?
Yeah, the operating agreement guide, I'll just share this with you. Request access, I'm not going to make it public, but I'll just share that link.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you.
But I think, to make this more useful, does anyone have a question, direction that you want to go with partnerships or operating agreements or anything like that?
How did you start this?
Like
what made you want to go this way?
doing partnerships?
Yes.
I think it's better to like some people try to do everything on their own, but I just networked a lot. Try to find as many like-minded people as me, and I was very focused on a particular market. So I know Stella Hahn quite well. She is the founder of Fractional, and she is based out of Fremont, California. So I've known her and knew what she was building, and I just started networking a lot, and it kind of just came about to create that type of community. In terms of partnerships, like I said, it kind of for better or worse, but it is a way to test drive some partnerships. Like I did an Airbnb where we had a lot of partners, but an Airbnb is more involved, so it becomes more like a group project, right? Underwriter, but we had a group of people doing self-managing the Airbnb now. We had someone with the marketing creating a logo and all that kind of stuff. We had one person just coordinating the entire transaction. So there were a lot of hands kind of involved in that deal. I think what we've run is that since there were so many partners, everyone learned and everyone loved that project, but everyone's actual skin in the game and money in the deal is high. So I think we all kind of forgot about it since. So it breaks even and we're happy, but nobody's gonna like try to, give that Airbnb like the top 5-star experience when, people are putting in like 5,000 into that project because it's a small Airbnb in the Midwest. But um, it was a way to get these transactions under and also test drive partnerships because some of those things that we did with people that were putting smaller amounts of money into those deals, they later started to invest more into bigger projects. And we really got to work out our working relation by doing smaller deals together.
Man, this is fantastic, Ian. I mean, this for me, this is great. I can get in there, low cost of entry, test out all partner kind of stuff and see what blows up in my face or what works, This is cool, man. Thank you for this.
Of course, it's a good. I gained a lot of experience from it. And a lot of people look at real estate like, oh, what's your cash on capital? And yeah, that's one thing. But honestly, when you do these, the downside of is that maybe your return on time isn't so great because you're putting less money into it and you're still giving the same amount of time as if you did more, but at the same time your risk is a lot lower and you're gaining a lot of experience. So
Yeah.
I did a lot of things. I was more about like just repetition, getting to see all these different types of experiences. When
I didn't even know this existed, man. So thank you. This right
Got a
here,
question for you.
awesome.
Yeah, sure, Josh.
In terms of like financing, like you go into a partnership with 8 people to buy an Airbnb in like Cincinnati or whatever. How do you guys do the financing on that? Are you creating a loan through that, or who's taking the liability on for the debt?
We use a DSCR. Good question because it gets tricky. Some of the local lenders don't like these larger partnerships, depending on how many people are in it. But we
Uh-huh.
took a DSCR loan for their.
Okay. So is there like a general partner that's taking or is it
We've
or
done
how does
that
that?
as well. Typically, that person, we've done it where they get a little bit more ownership, right?
Yeah.
Based on the fact that they're at risk, right?
Yeah, so that's how you do it. So someone's like taking full responsibility for the loan as the GP, and then you get a bunch of LP money in, and maybe the GP gets like a little bonus or something on the side just for taking on all that risk, essentially.
Yeah, so I can talk about formal like GPLP type stuff, which is different. Obviously, they will be on the recourse of the loan unless they're going agency, and those are non-recourse loans. With these types of deals, to be legal, the reason why the fractional model works is because they're joint ventures, so everyone's an active member. But we do somebody has recourse, right? If they use their own DTI in order to qualify for the loan. We've done that in the past, but we honestly, well, first of all, we force appreciated that property a lot. Then we refinance it to a DSCR loan. After my experience, not that like there was a bad one, but in partnerships, I would just recommend, especially like a fractional deal where you may have more partners, I would just recommend going DSCR, which you're borrowing in the name of the LLC and you're not putting it in one partner's name, right?
Yep, that makes sense. Yeah, it's just it's really interesting with partnerships and the liability and all that associated with it. It's beyond just I mean, the operating agreement's important, but the assumption of the debt is pretty interesting, right?
Yeah. I don't know if you saw um on the Zuber's video, they had a DSCR loan at like 5.875. I'm like,
Oh
well,
yeah.
you can
Yeah,
do
but
that.
it's already changed. It was at 60% now, or 65% loan to value. Now it's at 60%. And they also reduced it to single family homes and not, multi. They changed it within a week.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. I gave him a call too. But it's like, to get back to your point, normally DSCR is a higher rate. So that is kind of this, you do the side by side comparison. If you went the DSCR route and didn't have anyone on the having somebody sign on the loan, maybe you got a lower rate to having more liability, right? Obviously, and it impacts this person, he or she, their loan or their DTI. So you'll want a person, whether it be through ownership percentage or whatever, for that additional risk. And everyone else should also be happy because they're getting something at a lower rate as well.
That makes sense.
There end up being a wash.
And I see you're an accountant in terms of like tax prep, filing fees, and all that. Have you outweighed that? Like if you're doing a smaller deal with 8 partners, I'm sure the costs of managing the accounting and the tax preparation and handing out all the K1s to every investor and all that, it's got to be, a lot more work than just going into a deal yourself and just plopping some money down.
Yeah. So I noticed you're a CPA as well, so happy to connect with. But in terms of the tax side of things, fractional obviously does have fees in terms of fractional platform, and I'm not here to like pitch fractional. If you guys are interested in that, I know very working with them for quite a while. Not every deal makes sense on that platform, right? And sometimes, because they'll charge. I mean, the fees kind of charge 1,300 to do your bookkeeping and do your K. And that's kind of how part of their business model, because they do your operating agreement, they do your bookkeeping, they kind of make this ready to go for your partnership. So there's definitely value there, but it does eat into your returns, right? And that's one of those things I told you. Our Airbnb, I think that was like a 200K-ish deal, right? With a lot of partners. So your returns get you fees, right? So just kind of part of it.
Yeah.
There's a certain scale for it to make sense, basically.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's like you want to really get a big deal in order to, because also, I don't know, it sounds like you're maybe like starting a capital group or managing money. So it's like you want to show good, justify more, like, I'm sure you got to weigh the pros and cons of all these deals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool deal. All right. Well, if we wanted to continue down that path, let's go for it. But if somebody had other topics or discussions they want to bring up or questions, let's throw it out there now.
Your idea of the partnership you were looking at, Jared.
Oh, what was so I have in the co-living space, people hit me up all the time. For those that don't know, I do rent by room co-living or whatever. And most of the time they don't make sense, or there's no parking, or it's a disaster. I'd say almost 99% of the time, but one came to me and I was like, holy crap, this actually looks pretty good. And I was like, hey, look, I think if you're interested in partnering with this, I'd like to get to know you. And she was. And I was like, oh crap, I didn't think that was going to work. And so that's where it came up. And that's why I've had partnerships or I haven't had partnerships. I've tried to do the partnerships in the past, and either the goals didn't align, there were some issues and yada yada. So I don't know the person that well. So for me, I'm more of a relationship person. And this just so happens she doesn't have this deal locked up. And so for her to bring that to me and be open about it, that was pretty cool. It's been on market like 2 days. And it'll be there a while. So it's, we're 89 days on market on average. So it's not like it's going away tomorrow. Plus the price is too high. But if we could get a decent price, I'd, get to know the person. And if we get along and our goals are aligned and I don't feel anything shady, then man, I'd love to try to do the partnership. Here's the thing that's crazy is I've tried to do the partnership not to make any money or I don't for me, I don't need the money. I don't need any of it. I can do everything solo, which I'm doing, but I want to do the partnership for the future. You know what I mean? I want to test the partnership out and either fortunately or unfortunately, they've all blown up because at the last minute they throw some curveball at me and I'm like, well, okay, it failed. And at least it failed before we bought the property. So is that I didn't hear the whole question. I heard it broke up.
No, I was just asking what your idea was, and that's kind of
Oh,
and was what drew you into it, and it sounds like an incubator for you to
yeah.
get on a path.
Man, this sucks. My internet's cutting in and out. I think it's me is the bad. That's no good. I'm on 5 gig too. I can't believe that I'm having issues, but it is
You
what it is.
sound good.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I could hear you perfectly. So
Okay. Yeah, it's just on the receiving end of when you guys talk. So I think it's my son is down there playing video games, but he's not going to suck up 5 gigs worth of bandwidth. Well, cool. Um, I'll
That
just let
deal.
the group go where it wants to go. So if somebody has questions or if you
A
want to keep going.
couple hours ago, I hit Jared up on a single family. Like, what's your opinion here? And as I've never done a foreclosure. Looked to me like it fit maybe a buy and hold. Um, after because I'm out of state right now. This is uh, looking to, and my wife is she was with the realtor, and the realtor was like, I think it's going to go for about 4 grand over asking, and it starts to become a little bit of a tighter margin. Um, so I've got another one here that's been cooking for a while that it's a grandma house. Why don't you look at that? And quite honestly, I'm gonna take her advice and see um, how accurate her read on the market is. She's units, so we will. That's the outcome of that one, Jared. We're gonna wait and see what happens. And that deal basically looked like mid 50,000s after repair. Guess was maybe as high as 115. Repairs into it should have been about 15. So, I mean, there's margin, but I wasn't sure if it was. I'm more interested in accurate her opinion is than I am about missing a deal. My plate's kind of full.
Cool.
And sooner or later, I'm gonna have to figure out
So sooner or later, you're going to figure out what?
how to get a loan, how to
Oh,
take a
get a loan.
loan.
Oh, gotcha,
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah.
you've
Sorry.
just been paying cash, huh? For all these.
Yeah, we sold the farm,
Mhm.
and I've still got some more property to sell that I was um I wanted to keep the farm, and it was basically a $600,000 cash problem, and we broke it up some, but I'm probably going to pull 500,000 out in cash and relocate some properties.
Nice.
So um, to look at, and I would rather pick a fourplex that will carry itself on that VA purchase. And and I don't know where that one would be at. I don't know if I would put it. I might have to technically move for a year or two. So
Nice. I'm from Illinois too. Grew up by Chicago though, so
yeah, well, I'm Peoria area-ish.
nice.
You know, I built swimming pools from like Tenley Park to Batavia for a
Nice.
long time.
Do you want to stay in I assume you want to stay in Illinois for the long run or
I think here. I don't know if I uh, always hold residency here.
Right. That's cool.
So, but my wife's younger than I am, and I'm 54. So, um, yeah, I could. I'm not done working. I just don't know if how long I'm gonna work for somebody else.
Yeah. That's cool.
So, and I'm gonna have a lot of CPA questions when it comes time.
Yeah, if you ever have any questions, you can help out.
Okay.
I'm just cooking lunch, went to the gym, and then I'll be crunching through like another 8 hours of tax returns for the rest of the day.
Fun.
My sister's just finishing her master's before she chases down a CPA. And I got looking at buying a tax preparation business. One of the things I heard in the process, the laws changed in the last half dozen years to where the tax preparer has more liability than they used to. Is that correct?
I mean, I think there's always been liability with preparing tax returns. There's a lot more penalties now if you screw up and you're not doing your due diligence, but um, you just gotta be, when you're preparing returns, there's a lot of mills where they just prepare a lot of quick returns really cheaply and they make a lot of mistakes. So you want to avoid buying a practice like that.
Yeah, I would I'd rather start my own and because I kind of like.
Yeah. I recommend doing, have you ever like worked with a tax preparation firm or anything like that? Or,
I haven't. I've only had tax problems before, but
uh,
looking into a registered agent or starting something, it interests me.
I would recommend like going and working somewhere. I know you don't want to work for someone, but just
Oh
learning.
no, that
You would definitely want to like learn the trade first, build your own. I think it's
that was exactly my route. That's exactly what I planned on doing was learning on somebody else's, and hopefully I can make the.
yeah, and there's such a shortage of
Yeah,
people willing to do this work, so you'd be able to pretty quickly find someone that would take you on if you curious about the profession.
yeah.
So,
Anyway, hijacked the conversation.
yeah. Well,
Is there anybody that's new here that had any questions or anything they wanted to ask?
I have a question for him after somebody else asks some questions because I think this is really good. I just got on too, so I don't know what I missed, unfortunately, with my phone and everything. But
We were just talking partnerships and accounting.
okay,
Jump in, Lars.
okay, yeah. Hey, Josh, I have a question for you, and that is in regards to I've been I'm trying to remember the video. Anyway, saw a video they're saying by Chris Coons or whatever, where he's saying if you're going to manage your own properties, that you should uh, property management LLC if you're going to manage your own properties. Um, do you dive into that? It could more color on that, or is that just not in what you specialize in?
yeah, I mean, I don't like specialize in property management company businesses, so I think I would have to know a little bit more about why he set that up because from a tax perspective, having income shown on a Schedule E is more preferential than having active income in a property management business self-employment tax. So typically it's
Okay.
more Schedule E versus business that where
Yeah,
you
it
owe.
might have been more of a tax. It might have been some sort of asset part of it. He was talking asset protection versus taxes. So I okay. Yeah. No, I just wanted to ask because it's one of those where I'm not gonna to get that I'm looking at possibly managing my own properties from afar if I end up buying some properties in Pittsburgh. Um try you kind of use the Himley software self-managed, but I just just to see if he knew anything about it and whatnot. Because he didn't really delve into it, and I know he probably does that on purpose. So you call him up and pay him who knows how much dollars per hour, for him to finish really go into it. But I just figured I'd ask. So
Yeah, I think it's probably best to like talk to someone that specializes in property law that could be explained to you, given your state and things like that, whether it makes sense to do something like tax perspective. I don't see the benefit.
cool.
The only other thing is like if you do set up a management company, you could set yourself up with like certain retirement accounts. So you could shift some of the income away from the property. And then since it's active income, you could then, fund a SEP account or a solo 401k account or something like that, where rental properties directly, you can't really defer any gain in terms of like the operating profit.
You,
Okay.
you
So
just sparked a question for me. I've been against this, but I have two IRA accounts, a traditional and a Roth. And I know that Matt Sorensen is all for it, buying properties in a Roth or IRA or whatever. And then like Tom Wheelwright's completely against it because you don't get to, write off the depreciation and all that. But, assuming your gains in that IRA is, I don't know, 5 to 10%, let's say, hoorah, but you can get more gains out of the real estate for a return. It makes more sense to me. Any advice on buying real estate inside of an IRA that's already set up as an LLC? Is that
yeah, I mean,
advisable?
to be honest, I don't see too much of that in terms of people buying directly in a retirement account. Usually it's owned directly. Uh,
Oh, okay.
and then you just want to have, like in a retirement account, typically you want high income because then you don't pay any taxes on it. And then stocks that don't pay like dividends in your taxable account so they could grow
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I could buy a piece of real estate with my Roth account, a Roth IRA, and then that way all the operating expenses and income all come back to that account and it just grows and grows and grows inside that Roth.
Yeah, I haven't seen too much of that to be honest. So.
Okay. Man, we really need to get Zuber to bring on an accountant at the ORAT next year. Like I know that Bo, he knows Tom Wheelwright because he wrote the book together. So I was going to see if Bo would reach out to Tom to invite Tom next year, and if that doesn't work, in the same vein, I already reached out to Mark Kohler, who's my accountant slash lawyer, to see if he would be interested for next year. I'd love to get either one of those guys.
There's also that Amanda Hahn, I think is her name,
Yeah.
that does
Yeah.
accounting. So maybe that could be a good person too.
Yeah, she charges 10 grand for her services.
To
And
speak or just to be
well, I
an
don't know about the speaking, but for her services, because I reached out to her and I was like, damn. Whereas, Matt Sorensen and Mark Kohler, they're relatively, they're $500 an hour for their lawyer fees. And then the accounting stuff, it's a little pricey, but not 10 grand.
Yeah, that seems pretty stiff, but a lot of some of these CPA firms that do a lot of ad trying to go for those really high margin clients.
Yeah. Yeah. So cool.
I don't imagine it takes that long to burn 20 hours though either.
Yeah. All right. Any burning topics or questions?
So Jared, are you still looking at other one fell through? Are you trying to go after that property or no?
I had two fall through. I'm so pissed. Like, because I don't like spending money. Like, I'm doing these $800 to $1,000 inspections, and it just blows up in my face. Like, damn it. So I don't do that willy nilly. So no, I dropped that contract on the last one because the foundation was destroyed and the house was actually sinking. I was like, I don't want any part of that, man. And it was a disaster on top of that, but that's why I was getting a decent deal on it because it needed, well, everything like a roof. I mean, the what I thought the bones were good, but yeah, it needed a lot of work, which is why I was getting a decent price. So I thought, but they said they didn't know about it, but I'm like, okay. But I've got another one I just fired off an offer right before this meeting, and we'll see what happens with that.
Nice.
That's like some a winning. They didn't know they had a winning lottery ticket. It's like, okay, sure, you didn't. Like, no, you knew all along. You waited purposely for the year to go by for tax reasons and so forth. It's the same thing with the when somebody says, "I didn't know the house was sinking." Come on, man. We all,
Well, I actually kind of half-ass believe them because they're out-of-state investors and they've had it for a long time, and they did basically the bare minimum. Like maintenance wasn't on the top of their list, let's say. This thing was it was pretty bad. So I think they were just trying to take the profits and move on. So it's possible they actually didn't know, but anyway, I'm not taking that on. All right, we're kind of slow today. I think we all need to drink
Well,
some caffeine.
yeah. So on Jared, on that note, I had look at a house today, out in it's in Westmoreland, PA, duplex, and it was like a 3-2 and 2-2, and based off the price it was posted at, and judging by the pictures, it was going to cash flow pretty well. And I was like, holy crap! All right, let's go. And he gets out there and take the pictures. And I was surprised it stayed on the market. I was surprised it was still on the market like for 4 days because it took the guy 4 days to get out there. And to your point, he goes, he sends me a text and says, I would pass on this one. I can send you the videos, but I don't even know if it's worth it. Like in the text, the agent does. So I haven't seen the videos yet, but you figure it has to suck when even the agent's like, yeah, just pass. Don't,
Yeah,
I don't
that's pretty bad, man,
pictures.
because they're trying to make money.
Yeah, right. And so, but I mean, you look on the posting, there's like 24 pictures. They all look, looks really turnkey. Okay. And then, but he was saying, and it's also in a top 10 school district. So, within the state. So obviously, if you can get a school district, whatever state you're investing in, that's generally a pretty good winner. Being able to get somebody in there paying a lot of, paying high, paying market rate and keeping them in. Um, and so I'm just waiting to see what the videos are. I sent him a text just saying, hey, please send me the videos because if it stays on the market long enough, we'll come up with our price and just go in. Um, just based off what we think we can get for it and that. But he said it was odd. He said it was deferred maintenance, which doesn't scare me. And he said odd layout might scare me, but I want to see it. But anyways, so yeah, it's bad when they send you a text saying, yeah, I'm not even sure it's worth me sending you the videos.
Damn. I know people probably heard this last week, but this is so funny. I want to say it again. That inspection, the guy's going through and he's doing the sewer scope, and I paid for the inspection, so I figured I might as well watch the sewer scope, even though I dropped the contract. So I watched it, and he says, "So far, the sewer is the best part of this house." I was like, "Damn, no bueno."
Lars, what market was this and what year was it?
It's um it's in it's in Westmoreland County in Pennsylvania. Let me go the year it was built. Actually, I need to pull up my Gmail. It's the mail. Yeah, it is 5, which was yeah, nice. Let me on. Come on, internet.
Yeah, my internet's getting really bad. It's cutting in and out. So you guys go ahead and run with it. I'm just gonna listen in.
All right, I'm waiting for my internet to get to the link here.
I'm guessing it's like a hundred-year-old building or something.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I think almost all of them are going to be.
Yeah, I've dealt with a lot of similar stories over in Cincinnati, so just see them, you see
Yeah.
nobody touch them, you see the price drop, all that kind of stuff.
Well, and this one just came on the market too, and you're looking at the pictures, and it's like, it looks legitimately pretty darn turnkey. Yeah, built in 1921.
Yeah.
It looks really turnkey. Like if you look at the pictures, I mean, new LVP flooring and this and that, and you're just, you know, um, but he did deferred maintenance, which means he purposely took all the pitch because like you look at the pictures, there's no suggestion of deferred maintenance, none. Um, and there's a decent amount of them. It's not like the classic six picture posting, right? Because when there's six pictures, you know, there's a reason why there's only six pictures. But this one had 28, so it really kind of got my hopes up. And it was like a 3-2 and a 2-1. Um, there's nothing in those pictures that make you question anything. I mean, weird choices as far as wallpaper goes, but whatever.
There's a lot that you can't see from pictures. So it's good that gave
Yeah,
you honest advice.
yeah. And so I mean, yeah, I sent him a text saying, hey, yeah, please, because because it's in a top 10 school district, right? Um, I'm kind of like, well, we'll see how long it stays on the market and we'll just come up with the price. And I don't care if I don't care if they post it for 180, if the with the conservative rents, etc., at let's call it $140 or $130. I don't care. I'm on them, like, right. If it's just sits there, then there'll be a reason for it. We'll know why, and we'll have the videos and adjust accordingly, right? Um, so my thinking on it is like, yeah. So it's just you just make it a math problem and solve for it. It's just kind of how my line of thinking is for certain areas, right?
Yeah. Yep. There was a problem that where it looked good. We
Just
actually weren't able to offer deadline because there were actually a lot of people seeing it. So we got it under contract and we walked it, then we saw and sewer issues and things like that. So it was a 4 contract for 240. Some of the units, like the attic units, those are funky floor plans. People truly like their 2 bedrooms or whatever they were saying. We walked away from it. Then after that, it sat for a while and it sold for 200. And then I don't know what happened. Actually, I think it traded a few times, like within a year, maybe like once, and then somebody else bought it, and somehow he was able to sell it for 400, which was like criminal, right? And I know the real, and he preys on like out of state buyers, and I felt made me upset, right? Because it's a piece of shit, and somebody was able to pawn it off. And then when you look at the person who's selling it at the end, he's also got a lot of like legal stuff going on with him, a lot of foreclosures. And like this guy got bailed out by a realtor who was able to take advantage of an out of state buyer. So I'm glad that yours like, hey, walk away from this, right? But
yeah. Well, and I mean, I found this guy, and he was referred to me by two people in the ORAC community.
mhm.
So I don't get referrals and that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and I so and I so yeah, when a couple people refer me to someone, because that works out well, and yeah, so I'm sure we'll find something. I was looking at one today where it looked like a cash flow well, but I didn't even bother like reaching out to him on it because I saw that it traded like every 2 years. I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with this property. I'm just not going to waste my time on it. Right? Like when you see 2015, when you see somebody, 2012 and then 2015, it comes out of foreclosure. 2017, it trades. 2019, it trades. 2021, it trades. 22, it trades again, and now it's magically back on the market, and it looks like the numbers were. I don't know what's wrong with it, but I'm just not even going to bother. You know,
Yep.
because if it was a good property, someone in that would have kept it for more than 2 years.
Yep. And
Someone.
where are you from, Lars?
I live in Oregon.
Okay, cool.
Um, I have two properties in Delaware, and I'm entering the Pittsburgh market. Because the Delaware market, like my buy box has gone up 10% over the last 6 months, and you know before that as well. So it's great if you own a bunch of properties there, but kind of sucks if you're saving up for the next down payment.
Mm-hmm.
So the Pittsburgh market seems more stable, more cash flow heavy. So rather than trying to buy something that essentially barely cash flows, but the appreciation is going to be there, we're just trying to go to another market where we can just get more cash flow, but still be in a B area, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I know some people that invest near the university there, and yeah, it seems like a good market.
Yeah, I'm not because the prices are higher there, at least from what I've seen. Also, I'm just trying to focus on multifamily. How many multifamily there is near the Carnegie or Pitt,
Mhm.
but kind of some of the suburbs, some of the beach. A long time ago, I lived, so I know that's kind of like a middle class near the city type area, and people have told me it stayed that way, and there's some other areas of it, so we'll see. Almost, like I said, almost wound up under contract today, but didn't for obvious reasons. So
You guys want to see the one we looked at today?
Sure.
Okay. I've already sent this to Jared once, so this is on Realtor.
Hey, wait a minute. Are you okay sharing that? You don't have
Yep.
it locked up? Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to see which way it goes. I'm more interested in the relationship than I am the property. I think this is about this. So that's the address. It's a 3-1 or 3-1.5, 2-car. What is not shown is the furnace is gone and the water heater. Last time it was on market was 1996. I'm guessing that somebody inherited it, put the loans out against it during COVID, and it just got foreclosed on. The picture that shows a little bit of staining on the wall, the other wall has a white, older wallpaper that is not stained. So if the basement got wet at one point and they never, so there could be other issues there. So just to give you an idea what's there, I'm thinking it's 53 is what it goes for. And I'm thinking it takes 15. And I've lived in this neighborhood before, 20 years
so
ago.
it's a good area then.
Yeah, it's reasonably safe. Changed since I lived there. There has been a new federal prison go in on the south side of town.
Gonna have to put in to get this up and running. I'm kind of looking through the photos now. It looks like the carpet, the siding is a little
Yeah,
wonky.
yeah. I would imagine, of course, I'm 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off at work. I think it would take me 2 months to if I dedicated my work to it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering, the garage door, there's something wrong there.
Somebody's broke back into that house. So I'm going to guess because the garage door opener is still in place. She stuck the phone underneath the door today. There's spare shingles up in the rafters. There's this at one point was a pretty good property. I'm guessing so it never changed hands until they lost it. I'm guessing because this police department is pretty on top of things. Like I got pulled over last fall down there, because point that we didn't have insurance on the vehicle, or which was my dad's truck, for 14 days. And the state caught it, and I couldn't figure out why in the world. I had renewed the plate, everything looked good. The cops have got automatic cameras to. This is a pretty good community. This is the county seat of Tazewell County. Pretty decent small town. And it's a half an hour from like Peoria. So, and it looks like either somebody had there's been a door added to the master bedroom to access the backyard. So I don't know if it was an extra rent by room thing, or like maybe a barber shop, a barber shop.
I'm sharing out. Do you see the side of the house here?
Yep, this is the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've seen the siding on this, right?
They took the siding off that side, and so somebody was disgruntled.
Yeah, there's the door, garage door. That's an easy fix, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Definitely needs clean, new carpet.
Yep.
Elbow grease. Cool. All right.
And if anybody hit Jared up, and he's got my phone number, and I'll pass the realtor that showed me this on, so she can make a little. The comps were the highest thing that sold in this neighborhood is actually sold price at 112. And I'm guessing it would turn between 90 and 100 is what she was thinking. And I think she's probably 5,000 or 7,000 optimistic if you were in a bad spot. I do think that it rents pretty solidly for close to 1,000 a month. The comps there say as high as 1,200. I don't know if it quite brings all that with stability, but it would be close. Comp says a little bit high, I'm guessing, but I'm new. We'll see.
$1,000 in rent on 60K is pretty good.
Yep, that's what I was thinking too. But this would be my fourth project for the year. I don't know that I need to pick it up right now.
I think there's something to be said there. You would be picking it up cash, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So like for somebody like me, I'm trying to leverage debt and get a higher, like a $500,000 property, leveraging a smaller amount of money, using that leverage there. So I think it depends on your investment strategy and what you're willing to deal with. So
Anybody else got any feedback after looking at it?
well, I'll say you definitely got an advantage being that you've lived in that area, and being able to pick it up cash and doing the work yourself. So those are three big ones.
Yeah, it ain't bad, but I'm more interested in seeing how her instincts are, because quite honestly, if she's right, there's more money for me to be made other places with her. So.
All righty, Rudy.
Yeah. Lindsay, when my wife walked it today, she was like, I like this house, Charles. I think we can do this. I like it. And I'm like, okay, we'll see. And when she met with the realtor, they walked through it again, and she's like, yeah, maybe we'll just wait a little bit. So, and what do you mean by leverage a HELOC, Lindsay?
Oh, I mean, I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna buy a cash and you're trying to leverage debt, then if you have a line equity, a credit, a HELOC on your whatever, you can cash and then rehab it and then refinance on it later. 6 months you have your money back. It seems like FMR said for 1,300 in section,
Yeah,
so average shouldn't be so off from that.
yeah, I think it's close. I think everything's there is close. So 1,300 is rent and utilities, correct?
Mhm. Yeah, but Rentometer says the medium is 1,200 over there for a 3 bed.
Yeah. There's also some pretty nice places for I'm kind of on the cheap side. If I put a bunch of time into it, I want to make sure what the low end looks like. And I guess what that comes from is um two arms for like overs. And um they always seem to give to us when we need it. And it just works out to be good long-term relationships. So I kind of shoot.
Yeah, how much do you think it would cost to turn it over?
Um, the realtor was thinking 15 on top of purchase. It'd be quite that much, but that really depends on what you do. And that's kind of doing most of it. I think there's about $7,500 in material, flooring and the repairs, furnace, water heater. Um, More than likely it's been in there with no heat. So all the drains, uh, almost guarantee that every P trap is cracked. And then once you pressurize the lines, but most of it looks pretty decent. If I didn't have anything to do, I would be on this one.
No, it looks good. I think 10 to 15 is real to turn it over with the
Yeah,
new
that's what
furnace and the
that's
new
what she
water
was thinking too.
heater. Yeah. Mhm.
So, but there's also some ugly looking 52,000 or $51,000 house that's really pretty nice inside. Um, and this is a small town, so you don't have huge swings. I mean, there's not huge swings in neighborhoods until you get into the neighborhoods immediately around that lake. Then those prices triple. But most of this older stuff is pretty consistent. You don't get a lot of appreciation, but you do get some. It's slow and steady.
All right.
I'm noticing Ryan. I was hoping Hyder would say something.
Yeah, Hyder and I have been talking back and forth about Tom Wheelwright and Jason Hartman's event. So I guess Tom's going to be at Jason Hartman's event. That might be more expensive than I can afford right now.
Yeah, I've been been listening while I've been cleaning. But yeah, Tom will be at Jason Hartman's event for general admission around 450, I want to say, but that also gets you a ticket to Rebel Capitalist Live in Orlando this May, which I know Jared might be interested in going since
Yeah,
I'm going.
that's cool. I did that. That might swayed me. I mean, I'm just being tight with money right now because I'm trying to maximize everything. But that would probably sway me. But then I got to look at flights and hotels and all that. So
Yeah, we're looking at staying together, a bunch of us. Simon, I think maybe his wife is going to go. A couple of other viewers that we're all cool with. Crypto Beauty, Wayne Smith. We're all looking at maybe getting a suite up there in the hotel.
Well,
Our only travel is up and down the elevators.
well, let me know if you need another person to fill in the cost. Maybe I'll swing out there.
We'll keep you informed.
I was curious how many people, you don't have to respond, but maybe type in the chat. How many people here have W-2s and how many people don't?
And Joan, what?
A job like W-2, like if you're full-time real estate or if you're still doing W-2, or maybe your spouse works and you don't, and you're taking the time to do real estate.
Yeah, I'm full-time real estate, made the transition June of last year.
Nice. Congrats, man. That's awesome.
There's opportunity cost to having that W-2, right?
Nice.
So how far did you get? And tell us that story. How did that transition?
Yeah, it is a little bit scary. I'll acknowledge that. I feel like anytime I start talking about this is like everyone's eyes light up, like, oh my God, how do you do it, right? Um, so I was at my last firm. So Josh, you might find this. So I did 2 years Big Four. I wasn't on the tech side. I was on the audit side, and auditing some of the VC, the venture capital firms over in Silicon Valley. The VC, and I was there for 10 years. Um, but while I was working, probably the last 3 years, was getting pretty heavy into all this real estate stuff, um, starting to scale my portfolio. And, I made the decision in December 2023. I told my work, well, but I told my work in December 2023 that I was going to leave next year, somewhat around the time of my 10-year anniversary, because I know it's scary to make a change, but it got to the point where it was like, if I'm still here doing the same thing, I think that's scarier than me, right? And I don't know about you guys, but ever since the pandemic, every year goes by faster. And it's like, I don't know, years turn to 10 as quick, to think, I don't really want to be in the same role doing the same thing 10 years from now. So I really started to what I wanted to do, at to be able to work on the full time. I always tell people it's a much different thing having a W-2 and doing real estate like 10 hours, 10 or 20, so 20, like having the same your income coming in versus doing real estate full time, right? So it's been a little bit funky, right? Like it's scary because for many of you with a W-2, you probably get cash flow, but leave it in your LLC bank account. It's not like you're distributing it or anything a lot for your rainy day. Because you could get cash flow one day and then one big expense comes in and you gotta fund that, right? So my sources of income are a little scattered. I do some consulting work, by the way, but everything that I do can line up with what I want for the future, right? And to create this business that I want to be in ultimately, right? So I'm doing some consulting work for, I don't know if you guys know, there's actually the Best Ever conference that's going on right now, and my business partner, he's one of the hosts of the Best Ever real estate podcast. If you've heard of him, his name is Slocum Reed. So he's over at that conference right now. And when you guys mentioned Tom Wheelwright, I remembered that he was a speaker last year. I was trying to see if he was speaking this year, but it doesn't look like it. But I'm doing like consulting work for his property management company and his construction company. So I have various sources of income that are a little bit more staggered. I have MTRs, long-term rentals. I have like things that kind of keep the lights on, right? But my time building out the company that I want to build, right? I'm not, basically what I say is I'm not necessarily financially free, but I am my own boss, right? And it's kind of scary because me as a boss is pretty intense. It's my bosses at my W-2 weren't as even harsh on me as a boss on myself, because it's like we're trying to grow something. and when you go down this path, I think everyone has been through it. You're really wearing all the hats, right? Like, so I'm syndicating a deal right now, right? So you're working on the acquisition, you're working on the underwriting, but now all of a sudden I have all this investor relations, raising capital, legal, marketing. You're hiring people. I have team members that are part of our team. So it becomes like this whole operation that you're trying to build. Honestly, spending Josh, I mean, I'm sure at some point you worked busy. Well, right now it sounds like it. In Big Four, you have, I feel like I'm kind of on that grind all the time right now, but um, that's where I'm at. I just decided to go all in on what I'm doing here. So here's the thing: when you're working your W-2, you have to plant those seeds. So I had various properties. That one property that I told you I was a 50-50 partner on, that was a 6-unit apartment building. We sold it, and typically use 1031 all their properties, right? And just kind of keep tax-free growing their wealth. But that was a liquidity event for me. That's gonna, we decided to just take the proceeds and go in our different direction and on it, right? Because finding a replacement property, that's a different kind of rat race, right? Being forced on that 45 days time cycle to buy another property. I'm like, this seed that I planted a few years ago, this is actually going to help me to keep focusing on my business. I mean, I have more than enough income for the year just from that one sale. But it is scary because when you have a W-2, your net worth just kind of goes like this the whole time, right? But when you're doing this on your own, it may not that way. I'm trying way. But that's, I have this liquidity event that is a seed that I planted earlier. I have another refinance. Actually, that should come through on Monday. So I have another refinance. So another liquidity event coming in. Then I have some part-time income, all these different things that are a result of seeds that I planted while I was working my W-2. It's up to me if I want to do like, because you're so used to every 2 weeks or every month having another source of income, focusing on growing. And if I want to really grow what I'm doing, I should probably be spending more time on the business rather than trying to take like part-time work. Every now and then, you operate out of a fear and kind of mindset where it's like, oh, I'm consulting role. But the truth is, like, what I used to do, that job will always be there for me. I'll never forget, like I renewed my CPA for another 2 years right before I left. So it's like I'll still have that to my name. I can do this for another 2 years. And if I need to go back, it's not going to be hard for me to get and honestly, I was at that last company for so long, probably even get a pay bump, right? So
I did that.
as in order for me to take the next step with my, it's also working back to where I want to be. I was thinking about reflecting on the last decade of my career in accounting and thinking about what I want to do with my career and things with me having our first child, and how I want to be there and be present, 10 years from now. So I have my roadmap for the next 10 years, but it's not easy. It's scary. You have to plant those seeds early, right? That let you at least do it. But I'm not going to act like I left my job and I have so much passive income and cash flow that I'm, tired or something like that. It's not quite that.
So, when mom and dad died, there was more money than I thought there. Change from having enough to what am I going to do with this? And then there was making sure that my sisters are okay. They get what they want and things work out was extremely stressful. um, it makes you look at things differently, even if there is a lot of excess. I think the struggle, because I was self-employed for 15 years, um, and I got so busy I couldn't think during my construction season, which is probably where I made most of my mistakes. And every time that I was um, financially hurting or out of balance, and on something risky, I paid a higher price for it, being out of balance, financially out of balance. Um, just believe in yourself, have the tools for which way you're going. You're This is the first time we've met, and you're more than open and willing to share. Gifts you give people are going to come back. It doesn't matter. It's like Jared was telling me, I want to share that. And I'm like, I think it's a pretty good deal. If somebody wants to try something, yeah. I also want to know what everybody's thinking. Because I'm like, I see clear daylight on the other side of this. It may not be a lot, uh, but I see daylight. So, yeah, there's my 2 cents. I'm just a bull. You guys are smarter than I am. I just tend to go. And I'm at 54, you can't do that forever. And you start thinking about, well, what's the kids going to have? And then how are they going to handle it? So if they don't have the opportunity to make these decisions and stress through some of this stuff, understand why you've chosen the direction you're going, you compound the problem as they get into the problem too. So you guys are really neat to talk to. I don't know how else to say it. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I'm here for selfish reasons too, because everybody in my circle does not want to talk about real estate. So that's all I want to talk about. That's why I'm here.
You have blinders on. Yeah, that's
And I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing either. I mean, you probably shouldn't focus that much on it. Like my wife helps me out, but dude, I don't know. I read a book and boom, next thing you know, here I am, and it's just like go, go, go. So I don't know. Can't change who I am. So.
I remember as a kid, my grandpa front 60 for $11,000 for 60 acres. Today, that's or 2 years ago when it was evaluated, that's 14,000 an acre. And his father-in-law said, if I would have known he had that much money, we would have bought this and two others. And Grandpa's like, well, what happens if I can't pay for it? You paid too much. Dump it and start over. You're not going to lose that much. You may not lose nothing, but at least you tried. And fear holds you down. But that property's still in the family almost 70 years later. Plant the seeds you want.
All right, we're getting deep in here. It's good.
This was good.
Yeah. Yeah, usually we're talking about deals and this and that. Now we're getting more into the minutia, which is probably good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting to see all the different personality types. I'm a pessimistic person, and I actually owe Pace Morby a lot because I was trying to disprove him because I thought this guy's full of shit. And but turns out he wasn't, and they led me down the path, and I did some stuff and did his mentorships, and then I got to this community here, and this is the community I like. So I like the trajectory it's taking, and this community, man, I really like it. Like if you guys haven't been to the ORAT thing in Vegas, you got to go to that because there's something there. There's some magic sauce. There's some secret something or other. I don't know what it is. I know Ryan's been there. I know several people here have been there, but I really like it. And it just energizes me for the well, maybe not for the whole year. I was gonna see about maybe like the 6 month mark or halfway mark. I know there's some of us talking about having some event somewhere on the East Coast, maybe. Just maybe not Zuber involved, but like some of the people in the community get together and because I've never been to Pennsylvania, right? And meet up with Jack and some of those other guys and maybe do a little mini event or something. So
And Jared, where are you located? I guess I don't know where anyone's located, so I'll just shout out that I'm from San Jose, California. Anyone is nearby, but
I'm right above you in Oregon, but I invest in Arizona.
Oregon.
It's a good idea. Maybe. Hey, Josh, you mind sharing where you're from?
Yeah, so I live in Marin County, which is just north of the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Lars and Jared are both Oregon, right?
Yeah, Lars is in Eugene, which is like, I don't know, Lars, what is that, 2, 3 hours? I don't know how far. It's far away. And I'm up in Forest Grove, closer to the nut job place where all the anyway, Portland.
People think that people from SoCal are like near me because we're in California.
Yeah, not really. Yeah, I'm in the Peoria area of Illinois. And
I'm
I
in
go
Long Island. Sorry.
Long Island,
Yeah, Long Island, New York.
Nice.
cheap.
No, not. It is not.
Yeah, I'm down here in San Diego, and that's not cheap either.
No,
But you're a world traveler, aren't you there, Ryan?
Oh, it sure seems like it these days. In fact, I'm scheduled after Alaska to stop in Oregon again and hang out with Simon.
Oh, dude, you got to
You
hit
know,
me
it
up.
should
He's
be
up in
around,
Astoria. I would love to swing by and say, hey, if you guys are cool with that.
yeah, it should be July 25th, 26th area.
Nice.
I'll definitely keep you informed again.
Hey, Sean Kirks, where are you at?
I'm in Bakersfield, California, so right San Jose and above San Diego.
Sean and I have been texting back and forth while we're on this meeting, so I apologize. I'm multitasking.
Yeah, Bakersfield's really not that far from me. I want to say 90 minutes, 2 hours, something like that.
Where are you at?
San Diego.
Yeah, it's about actually 3.5 hour drive, give or take, to Bakersfield. And
Yeah,
then
so two of my hour drives then.
yeah. And then about the same, about 3.5 hours. The nice thing about being in Bakersfield is you're about 2 to 4 hours from like a lot of places. Like I did go to the ORAT event and I drove. It was, 4.5 hours. So
For those that are driving or can't read the text, I'll read this off. Sean says you just said you're in Bakersfield, and then Aaron, you're in Southern Oregon. Oh, cool. And then Andy Dickens is in Southern Ohio. So, and then Val is in North Carolina. Oh, cool. It's one of the markets I was looking at.
yeah,
Well, since we're sharing locations, do people want to type in the chat their strategy? If you have like a core type of strategy, so people know I'm doing the rent by room thing, but I'd be curious to see what other people are doing.
don't lose money.
Good strategy. We've got some value add multifamily from Ian. Nice. That's a tough game. You got to be on top of it, right, Ian?
It's a tough game. I think I got into it first because as a CPA, it seemed most like a math problem, but once you actually get into it, it's a lot more. But you get into underwriting and you think, oh my God, this is all we got to do to add value to this property. Then you actually get into the operations and it's a lot of work.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do originally is multifamily just because of the scalability, but I do plan on syncing back up with that, but I want to try to get involved and do seller finance. I figured I'd had to get a base going. So I basically am doing multifamily in a single family home with rent by room, but I have 30-year fixed rate debt. So that's why I liked it.
Mhm.
Oh, nice. Got some house hackers out there. Sean's house hacking 3 times over. Nice.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do a house hack anytime. My house hack is with the kids.
Yeah, I would love to do that, but the wife won't let me go. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah. I've house hacked in the Bay Area for any, I'm passionate about sharing how to do it in a high cost of living market for anyone that's curious.
It seems like I'm in just the exact opposite. I'm in the rent district that quite easy. There's a lot of doubles you can pick up here if you buy them right. But you're doubling 40 instead of the big end stuff.
So Aaron says started renting by room and had an ADU built and bought a third unit. Awesome. Good job, Aaron.
Yeah, Rosanna, happy to talk to you, connect offline, but we have a duplex over in San Jose. I've underwritten a lot of those 2 to 4 units, but I think for wanted a duplex. And granted, part of the hack was First Republic Bank back in the day when they were around and they were able to give you really good interest rates, and they had the Eagle Community Program, so you could find is in low to moderate income census and get a really low interest rate. So that was part of the hack. That's not around anymore, but I've underwritten a few of those. If you're in the Bay Area, I know what those numbers look like. And then midterm rentals help a lot because of stipends to get people out here in the Bay Area. They work out. Although we're actually converting our duplex. So with a baby on the way, we're actually renting the house that doesn't make financial sense to buy. That would be, a 12K mortgage or whatever. And then we are renting out the duplex that we own. We're going to flip it to long term. Just because travel nurses, I don't know if anyone's aware, but they've kind of died down a little bit over in the Bay Area. Now I'm getting a lot more bargaining, right? A lot more like, hey, would you take a lower price? Their stipends have decreased a little bit. But the mistake that I made last year is that there are a lot of tech interns over summer, which is great. A lot of NVIDIA interns are applying to our place, but we're just going to flip it long term because if you take that intern for the midterm rental, you pretty much lose out right after. It gets really hard to fill in September when all the families that wanted to come earlier or the people that wanted to move over the summer, they're kind of gone. So we struggled after taking those interns as a result of that. But yeah, I can help you individually. Not sure where your market is. Yeah, I have all the templates for the stuff from California Apartment Association, so that all the California templates, if you happen to be over there. And house hacking is easy because a lot of stuff you would have set up anyways, right? It's not like you're furnishing something out of state. You would have had furniture there. You're sharing your internet connection and stuff like that. If people are in the same, if you're renting by the room, I guess. But there are things that make it a little bit easier.
Thank you, Ian. That's good to know because that's something that I'm interested. If I end up buying in the state that I'm in, which is New York, that was one of the things that I was thinking about doing was house. Because I currently live in a condo now, which the plan is to leave that condo rented out since it's almost paid for. So just if I end up buying another property, just a regular property, leave the condo rented out and then house hack the property that I'm in and then just start from there. Those are the plans. But like I said, the prices here are just insane.
It'll,
Yeah.
my house hack actually was a condo, but it was right by eBay. So being right by, it's not just being by the hospitals, but being by like a corporate, headquarters as well can help to get that kind of furnished housing because we did rent it furnished. And Sean, yeah, I'd be happy. I mean, if anyone wants you can connect with me on the platform.
Skool.
Happy to give my phone number actually.
Ian, the platform Skool, Zuber Skool community.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just
I have to apologize, guys. My internet's really bad. I don't know what's going on. So I'm just sort of chilling, letting you guys chat. All right. Any other topics or anything anybody wants to chat about? I'm gonna go check out this website. I already forgot it. The trap I captured it, but your
Fractional.
fractional. Yeah, I got the notes here, but the fractional and go do something in there just to do it, just to do a deal and learn some of the issues like goals and how people operate and all that. That way, it won't cost me as much, hopefully, because it looks like you can start with like what, 5 grand or what was the? Do you know what the minimum is?
And what they try to foster is they have like an incubator called Fractional Accelerate. I'm not sure exact. Well, I think it's still around. They used to put they have a platform within their website, and they just you have to pay a monthly fee see deals that people within that community share. So another thing, Jared, since it sounds like you're part of Pace Morby, there's a guy, he works for Fractional, his name's Kyle Brennan, and he shared us a deal from a wholesaler, like a subject to deal that we did through Fractional not recently, maybe over a year ago, but yeah, it's just good to kind of follow along and meet people through that platform.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a better way to go for learning the partnerships than there's also fractional investing. There's sites like oh crap, I forgot the name, but you can spend like $50 and then have like a token, and that token supposedly equals equity, but that doesn't give you the same. That's just like you're investing a teeny chunk into something that could go off the rails. Who knows? But at
Yeah.
least with the fractional, it sounds like you're getting more of that partnership feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say for better or worse, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's why
Yeah.
doing something like that with like 5 grand, you're kind of limiting your downside. Whereas if you jump into a house with somebody like this one we're looking at, total out of pocket's going to be up there, man. It's like 170 grand with purchase, reno, everything we need to do. But but the numbers work. It looks good, and so I'm like, holy crap, even at that cost, because it's in Mesa, Arizona, and it's a nice neighborhood. And it's a nice property. I mean, it has a pool, which I don't normally like, um, but anyway, so it's a cheaper entry fee, right? For 5 grand. If it all blows up, okay, it's not, you don't dropping, 108 or 90 grand into this thing and be like, oh crap.
So Ian, as you evaluate multifamily, is it like price per door or the over?
Yeah, it's both. I mean, price per door is your easy back of the envelope metric, right?
Mhm.
There's so much more to it. You have like your 1 minute kind of underwriting, we're using a 50% expense ratio. You have like I mean, that's like a 5 second thing to be like price per door, but obviously different properties are gonna split out their utilities different unit mix, the vintage, the age of the building matters as well when you're underwriting CapEx. So I think price per door, those first metrics that you look at, and then you can go as deep as you want to afterwards. But price per door that's definitely something people look at.
Because most of what I'm looking at the goal is to keep it within 30 on the low end and 50 on the high end price per door. But I can stack them one at a time and repair them, or contract for deed them out like Jared and I were talking about, or rent them.
Yeah. And these are how many, because you showed a single family, so is this how many
So
units?
I bought a duplex for 29,000.
Oh, wow. 15.
So, but that's only going to flow between 4 and 450 a month. So, taxes on that it last sold at 70. The taxes on that are almost 2,000. Water bill a month is 68 for both of them.
Yeah.
So a single bill. it's first level, it's front and back, they're not on top of each other, large lot. It's just in the middle of Hillbillyville that I know that anybody heading to town is going to have to pass by. And if it doesn't work, rental the daycare.
Oh, wow.
So because we got a river and not a lot of bridges. So at first I was like, I don't have once I'm going to have tenants. Oh my. If I got one, I might as well have 20 and get good at those solutions is where my mindset has shifted to. So
you talked about a lot of stuff, and some of it I feel like you are the market expert. I can't even like with that single family home that you showed. It's tough for me to give you advice because you probably looked at so many more of them, right? So I'd say you probably know there's really odd, but in terms of the price per door, duplexes typically you're just going to look at comps, anything 4 units and under, find other duplexes. I guess you can have a price per door. You're really just comparing things by the comps. Price per door is more for some of the larger multifamily out there, like 10+ units. But I feel like you're going to have a competitive advantage at all these properties that you're looking at just because you know.
Yeah, that's even like in Peoria, there's areas that I don't know. And that's the largest population base. I know the areas that used to be crappy when I was a kid are coming back. I just don't know them. I haven't lived there. And there's only so many you need anyway.
Yeah.
But if I ever step out of this area, I need that tool set and I need that skill. So in some of these questions.
Or I mean, if you want to get the deep underwriting in, it's going to be the cap rate, right?
Yeah.
So.
Okay. And a lot of this, quite honestly, guys, is being in this backyard, serving the communities, living in these communities for 50 years. I haven't been a real estate investor. I mean, it's almost an accident. This wasn't supposed to go this way, but I decided that this is the target that I could hit easiest for the family, and I'm willing to do more work than my sisters were. And I shouldn't say it quite that way. They had defined goals. One wanted nothing but cash, and the other one wanted nothing but land. And but a year, the 23, those two bought a $42,000 house on a very small lot, and in 90 days or less, sold it for 85 with paint and flooring, essentially. Garden, there was a deck and stuff, but they was waiting for paperwork to come back. So, and no realtor fees on anything. So I started looking at those little flips, and I was little sayings along the way. When I first got a job was at a theater, and the regional manager of several theaters asked me, "Would you rather make $100,000 off of one person, Charles, or would you rather make 100,000 off 100,000?" And I'm like, 100 grand off one. He says, "What happens if you lose that customer?" Oh, that's a really good point. Then you hear sayings like serve the masses and you'll live among the classes. If you serve the classes, you live among the masses. And I'm like, okay, so it is who you serve and and what targets you can actually hit. So it's these philosophies that drive me forward on the smaller jobs that I think I can do, because this is what I know for like really well. I also know that I don't want to live every winter for the rest of my life. And Jared was giving me crap about, "Boy, you're all over the place." I'm like, no. Anyway, I really appreciate your viewpoint. Looks like, yeah, Rosie, you guys live in a really tight area. I look at deals and I'm like, I'm just not fighting that hard for a deal. And you guys are like, I'm penciling everything out. And I'm like, yeah, spitball still works for me.
Yeah, rub it in, man.
I'm not rubbing it.
I'm just kidding. I'm giving you a hard time. I had to go 1,300 miles away because Oregon's ain't gonna happen up here. So
yeah. And I realized that I don't have the aptitude for some of the other things. So, and yeah, anyway.
yeah, man, you get a couple of those under your belt, get some history and whatnot, and then start raising capital for yourself.
Um, yeah. And I want to serve my communities. Like, um, a lot of hardworking folks need a place they can afford. And the people that got their head above water looking need properties that make sense. That, quite honestly, you leave a little meat on the bone, so the next guy's got some room to, in my humble opinion. But I'm not trying to skin everything down to the last,
You know what? One of the things that I realized coming into real estate, I know we were kind of ramping down, but I'm gonna throw a grenade in here. Is there's a lot of money out there. Like my mind was so narrow, I was in corporate and blah blah blah, and I got into these communities and I was just dumbfounded. There is a ton of money out there. There's all kinds of lenders. When you're talking about private money lenders, you got people like me that are 6 months and under. Some people are 1 year. Some people are like, hey, I'll give you the money. I don't want to hear from you ever again. Just pay me my whatever. Like I call them whales. There's a guy in the sub two community. He's a whale. He's retired. He's in Brazil, and he's like doing loans for NFL players and stuff. Right? I'm like, damn. You could judge whether that's real or not. But and then there's people that have IRA money. They don't touch it yet because they can't touch it till they're 59 and a half. And I'm sure, Ian, you've probably got a lot of people involved with the multifamily that are doing this. And I would be interested in that, but I don't have much left. I got like 200 grand left. I blew a couple hundred grand already doing this stuff. So I'm going to just exhaust it and get into my thing. And that way it's just me. But the mindset, the power of, well, I didn't know anything about this. Got in, did a deal and it worked. And I kept going. I was like, holy crap. So it proved out the point, but there's also the money. Like if, I think they say it on all these YouTube channels, if you can find the deal, you'll find the money. And I was kind of thinking, that's all BS. Dude, that is 100% true, but you have to have the network in order to display it like, hey, here's a deal, and then have a little bit of I don't know, history, I guess, or maybe a little clout or a little, because if you have a deal and nobody knows who you are, that kind of thing. So there's a little bit of that, but it's just this whole world to me is just absolutely amazing. I'm 50 years old and I'm just now figuring this stuff out. I feel like such a dumbass, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. I'm excited because I didn't know this world existed.
Yeah. Maybe our next call, I'm not going to even get started on raising capital, but I could I could definitely talk about that. And the fractional stuff, it propels you because you get those wins under your belt to show and to form those communities. So that is definitely that me 10 years ago that wanted to be an accountant, like introverted me, ever thought I could do. But obviously, as you go through different stages of life, you evolve. And yeah, if anyone wants to talk about raising capital, I can talk about that as well down the road. I'm not gonna.
I accidentally did it once.
Yeah.
So I was trying to find deals and I found this one. It was a 400K. I think I may have talked about it before. It was 400 grand, which I had at the time. And I was like, I'm not putting every dime into my first deal. That would have been so stupid. So it was the first real deal that I liked. And so I went out, made a few phone calls, and we raised the money. I was like, holy crap, it was a crazy one, man. It was a 2-month loan, 15% returns. And originally I was thinking, oh, this is BS. But the guy had purchased there's portfolio purchases out there where like the banks will package up all these foreclosures and they'll just auction them off. And I think he picked it up for like 1.2 million or something like that. And he needed 400K for the reno and this and this. And it was only 2 months. And I'm like, this makes no sense. Like, well, okay, I like the deal. And if all these numbers work, okay, but how the hell are you doing this? And he's like, oh, well, because they were in different states on the East Coast, like Florida. And I was like, there's no way you're going to turn all these or even wholesale these in 2 months. What's the deal? And he goes, oh, I got a couple construction crews that I fly around. And I was like, okay. And I go, how do you plan on securing it? He goes, oh, here's 135 properties, pick two, first lien position. I was like done, dude. So there's people out there like that just blows my mind, you know. And I stumbled into that thing right out of the gate. So those things are out there if you look.
I hope to find people to serve.
Me
Is the
too.
best way to say that. It is, yeah. I never started making money when I working for myself, really making money until I learned how to say no. I can't do that. I can't be there. This is and even at the sales table, when they had a good local contractor that I was bidding against, I was even cheaper a couple times. And I'm like, I've never had a problem with these people. I bought parts from them. They've always been awesome. If they say they can do this, I think that they can. And I think that this bid here will be your best bid, even though it's $2,000 higher than me. And
Like my favorite cooked shrimp ceviche.
now we can't hear you.
Hey Val, we couldn't hear you.
I think she might be having a conversation.
I'm sorry, that wasn't me. I'm sorry.
Anyway, so yeah, I'll take pictures and show you how things develop and where and how we're moving properties around over the next year or so. So some holds I don't think are gonna, that all depends on the interest rate when I put things up for sale. I don't think I'm gonna, I want a leaner portfolio. I want more things making money than eat.
Hey, you touched on something there. So I'm actually the reason I'm being so aggressive and firing out these offers is I believe that the rates are coming down. I'm getting the last couple houses we got a pretty good discount on. So I'm desperately trying to make these disrespectful offers, as Uber says, now because as those rates come down, more and more buyers are coming in, man. So I'm feeling kind of the pressure, at least in my market, because I want to take advantage of this time, right? Like right now is the time, and that's why those two that fell under those contracts fell through. I was like, dang it, man, because they were if they didn't have problems with the house, they would have been good purchases, right? So I'm like kind of frustrated, but I'm trying to get at least one or two before more and more buyers come in.
The real, the one that the one I showed you, the real. Take a look at this other one. Originally posted at 90, they're at 75, and my bid will be in the 50s. You're gonna, nobody's willing to pick up the property right now. So, but it's another rural area that it's gotta be cheap enough, and you gotta be able to fix it with the problems to be able to put it back on the market. And people, we're cheap enough here that either people don't want homeowner responsibilities or they want the space. So that's been my experience. See you, really. Anyway, guys, I guess it is. I got to get back to work.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and see if there's any last minute things, and we'll wrap it up if we don't have anything. Anybody have any last minute additions? Going once, going twice, third time's a charm. All right, guys. Oh wait, Ian's popped in there.
Just gonna say nice meeting everyone.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was nice meeting you too, man. Good stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to asking you questions.
Me too.
Bouncing things around and yeah, I think there's deals in my market that I can feed to as an incubator to people. I've got to have my plate cleaner before I can offer them up. And your approach on the way in of learning the systems before you get to swinging too much chain that you can't control it. My approach as well. So,
all right, guys, have a good one.
See
Nice meeting
everybody.
you.
See
Bye.
you guys.